Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's podcast, I'm welcoming the lovely Rimini, and I just want to kick this off with, I met Rimini about, what was it now? How long ago, roughly?
Probably about 4 months ago now.
Something like that. Now, Rimini is someone who is heavily in the fitness industry. You're competing, right, at the moment? Yeah. On prep, all that good stuff. And Rimini is also looking to really go full time into her business, scale it, and do all that incredible stuff. So today we are talking about being ripped and rich, aiming to build a business, lifestyle, freedom, financial stability, all that good stuff, and how fitness plays a huge part. So stick around, because if you're into your fitness and you like business and money, this is the podcast to listen to. Rimini, just give us that 30-second intro of who you are and what you do at the moment.
Awesome. Okay, so I'll practice this in my head because of the little event that we had the other week. So, hello everyone, my name's Romney, and I basically upgrade people's lifestyles physically, mentally, and socially by giving them personalized training plans and nutrition plans, and also thinking about people just glowing up essentially. And I also help people live pain-free by giving out hands-on treatment for injuries and just overall aches and pains that you may be dealing with.
Awesome. Practice, there we go. In one take, in one take. Cool. Well, look, what we're going to do is we're going to dive into, firstly, why fitness for the both of us, right? Why do we do it every day? Why do we focus on it? Why do we make it such a big part of our lives? And I think there's lots of answers, right? So I'm going to hand it over to you first. Why is fitness such a big part of your life?
Awesome. Okay, so when I was younger, me and my two sisters literally did pretty much every sport under the sun: gymnastics, athletics, swimming, dancing. And my parents literally stuck us in sports for all of our early kids age to, well, now we all still do something within fitness or sport industry. And they kind of just made us really disciplined, and kind of like that whole mindset of working hard, wanting to go and win things, like being competitive. And I think that mindset has always stuck with me since being a very, very young age. Lockdown happened, and I do find this a blessing in disguise because I was still doing long jump. I wasn't getting pushed as much as I wanted to, and I kind of lost the love for that. And then summer 2020, I decided to give bodybuilding a go, which has been an absolute game changer for me, by the way, in like the prospect of just fitness to absolutely everything else, hence why I'm here today. And then 14 months later, I ended up winning my first bodybuilding show. And since then, it's been a massive off season, and I start my second prep in 2 weeks.
I think fitness is such a big part of life in terms of your discipline, your direction, who you hang around with, the lifestyle that you lead. And I think it's a good thing, right? I think anything to do with health, fitness, sport, combat sports, I think is a good thing because it just instills like all the good habits. And for me, I've always played high level sports from such a young age. And I think if I look back now at really what it's given me, and I think this is these things, structure. Like to show up every single day and do something which is healthy, developing, mentally it's tough. And also I think, as you know as well, especially with lifting weights, is that you're always wanting to push yourself, like another rep, you want to show up a little bit longer, a little bit more of a sweat on, just challenge yourself. And that's a really good thing. And as you
Really good.
well know, in society at the moment, I think we've got things backwards. Like someone might be like, why are you tracking your macros? Why are you
Yeah.
bothered about what you eat? Yeah, they'll do a whole bag of donuts. So it's crazy, right? So in terms of sort of the health aspect and mentally, where do you feel you are at the moment because of fitness and like the life that you live? Obviously, you're on a lot of prep, you do a lot of training. Do you think that's been healthy for your mindset? Like, where are you at with it at the moment?
I definitely feel like it's given me such a huge impact. When I was in lockdown, I was in a situation where I didn't feel respected with friendships. I didn't feel respected with the relationship that I just had. It was all kind of a thing of people were always out in their opinions and going, "Oh, don't do that. Don't lift weights. You'll turn into a man. Like, don't do bodybuilding. You'll have to take steroids." All these little mimicking comments, and I kind of just didn't really show who I was because of other people's opinions. Now, 4 years later, I'm in the healthiest and happiest relationship I've ever been in. I've got the closest circle that I've ever had. I'm respected in the fitness industry and just as a general person. And my own body image and mental health is a lot better as well. I'm no longer going, oh, I need to think about what so and so is going to say. It's just going to be like, well, they can take it or leave it. But I know for a fact that I'm making myself better every single day, whereas not everyone else is. And it's hard to start that, but I genuinely feel when you put yourself in a bit of discomfort every single day, you're constantly improving and constantly giving yourself a better opportunity in life.
Yeah. This is the thing, right? You're setting yourself up, in my eyes, for success because you're making your body pretty tough. Your mental resilience is always improving. And there's something, it's good stress, right? Is that every time that you're training a little bit harder, you're getting used to that harder set, that harder training session. And that's that resilience that you're building up. And I think this is massively overlooked, is that actually, do you know what? Getting in the gym and putting in a hard session and almost like going to war with yourself. Some people say, well, that's a little bit much. Isn't it a bit obsessive? And again, this is like, what's normal? Like you're not, I love working all the time. Some people don't. Like, what's your normal? But yeah, like fitness for me has been just everything around discipline, the structure, the routine, showing up, lifting sort of the freezing cold iron, getting calluses, and just doing what most people don't want to do at all different times of the day, like especially early in the morning. So look, fitness, it gives you a fundamental, right? It gives you a good foundation. So obviously you're in the workplace, you're building your own brand, you're starting in your own business. How do you feel that being in fitness, having that structure is really going to help you sort of build the business that ultimately you want to?
I think when you start fitness, it ultimately gives you that kind of like level-headed respect for yourself. And I feel like it does give you that mindset that once you think that you're capable of something, you can literally just go out and do it. And you're always thinking, okay, I'm happy but never satisfied. What can I do next to improve my life? Now, when I finished my prep, I happened to be in my overdraft because if you didn't know, bodybuilding is very expensive. It is just unbelievable. Like the finance stuff, it's awful. But that's because it's more like a beauty pageant for some people. But the 3 years that I've had in between shows, I've now gone, okay, well, I need to sort myself out financially. What can I do to give myself a better chance at affording bodybuilding and essentially building my own money up for other things like what used to be like buying a house, like being able to like financially be stable and not have to worry about like bills and stuff like that, because everyone does worry about bills, but I want to put myself in a position where that's not going to be a possible thing. And if it ever got to a point where my business went under, I will always have that level head where I can go, okay, what's next? Like I'm always going to think of the next thing rather than relying on a job and then them going, oh, your job's gone. Because people think that's like stability, and it's really not, because you're not in control of like someone else giving you your income.
Yeah. And this is what I like. Again, like I can tie everything back to fitness, right? Is that you have to take yourself to the gym, you have to build your own business, you have to put in the reps, you got to generate the leads. Like it goes again, there is a direct correlation from keeping yourself fit and running a healthy business, right? There really is, and they merge really nicely. I think when anyone is trying to build a business, one of the most testing things is on your mental state. Now, for me, it's super like simple. There are two sides. You can have, when we say like you're bloated, I feel like there's a business bloat. Like where you're overwhelmed, you're tired, you've got brain fog, and you're finding it hard to like get back on the horse and build and carry on like pushing your business. I feel it's even worse if you're unhealthy and you're not working out. There's no escape, you're not de-stressing, you're not releasing endorphins. Whereas when you work out, I'm sure it is for you, like it's my getaway. I now put on when I'm plugged in with my AirPods. I never used to do it, but now I have noise cancellation on when I'm training,
Oh, nice. Okay.
just so I'm in a bubble. And I really find it helps me just get back in the mood, get back on the horse to like carry on with my business. Do you find that, it's really helped you sort of, I suppose, bounce back quicker, being in fitness.
Yeah, 100%. Because obviously that couple of hours that you have in the gym, it's your therapy. It's you de-stressing by taking all your stress and all your anger and all your frustrations out on just lifting some iron. And when I go into my gym sessions and I go from going, maybe not today, like I don't really want to go, because 9 times out of 10, and you'll get this, you're not actually motivated to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Walk out and you're like, this is why I am where I am today. This is why I help people do the same as what I'm doing, because essentially you putting yourself in a position where you're going, okay, I didn't really want to go to the gym today. And 9 times out of 10, everyone that says that, they go, well, I'm not going to go then. What's the point? But
Yeah.
anytime that you go when you don't want to go, you're always going to feel better for it and go, oh, damn, I didn't listen to myself and I just went. I
Yeah.
didn't procrastinate. I just got it done and I got about 3 PRs from it. So it's a win-win always.
I like the attitude of you wake up in the morning and you know there's that like perfect scenario. You wake up in the morning, you've been really toasty in bed, you know, you're cozy in the duvet, like heating's on or whatever, and it's like alarm goes off, and there's always like that. If you train in the morning, that is, I do a lot of training in the morning, but there's always that thought of like, do I go to the gym later or do I go now when it's cold, it's freezing? Early bird catches the worm, like get up, get down there. And I like that sort of like it forces me to do things that maybe other people just aren't prepared to do, like getting up, getting down to the gym, because that's sometimes the hardest part. Now, I've always found this. So in the workplace, we were talking about sort of like you have more self-worth, don't you? When you're like training, you feel better, you're more confident, your self-esteem's high. Did you find, were you ever in the workplace when you weren't working out to then when you were working out in the workplace? And did you find that that gave you kind of like two different feelings? Because I'll just say for me, although I've always worked out, I can tell you now, if I went into my old job and I wasn't working out, I'd just feel lazy. Like I'd find it harder to escape my job because I'm being lazy in my personal life and my fitness. So have you sort of come across that?
Kind of. It's been a thing of like, obviously, before I started like thinking about my nutrition and stuff like that, I'd just be around everyone else who was just doing things for like convenience and short term, comfortable situations. So, for example, going for that takeaway, just having a few treats here and there. And then as soon as I changed up and then did start taking my food, everyone seems to be so nosy about it. They're like, oh, what you got there? Like, oh, do you not think that's a bit unhealthy? And it's like chicken and rice. Like, it can't get any healthier than that, in my opinion. And like anyone who sees anything different happen, they've always got something to say. But then it's the same people that will constantly moan that they're not in shape and they're not happy. And but they're not wanting to live out the short-term comfort, because short-term comfort will equal to long-term regret. Where if it's short-term uncomfortability, you're gonna have long-term like happiness, in my opinion.
I have found that you get more respect from most people, to be honest with you, if you're in shape.
Yeah.
There is a different demeanor with people that are around you in terms of, you know, look, I'm not judging at all, but if you were to meet someone who's very, let's say you were going to do a business deal, or maybe you're looking to network with people, and there is someone who is just busting out of a shirt, overweight, sweaty, pits are on fire, you know, I feel like we judge as humans, like we make that first assumption of someone based on their my thing is blown out massively, bear with me. um I feel like we make a real quick judgment based on what someone looks like. And I think especially if you're someone that was trying to escape the 9 to 5, or you're trying to build a business where your connections are so important, I would only want to be on like my peak. Like I want to be at my best.
Yeah.
So for that is to be in shape. Like, have you ever sort of come across where you've started to get maybe, I don't know, more respect, or you found people act different when you are like at your best in shape?
Yeah, so definitely when you prep lean, obviously when you prep lean, it's not a healthy state. I will just put it out there now. But many people admire the lean look. Many people will look up to you and go, oh my God, you must have worked so hard. And they can see that you're disciplined. And I think that people will respect you and also ask for help and advice, because they look at me and then they go, well, she's done it, so why can't she get me to do it, for example? And that's why I've started online coaching as well, because I came from like mentally really low to then being absolutely fine now, where to a point where like I'm happy with everything that I do. And not many people have that. Not many people have that like comfortability with the mental state. Like someone always has like a bit of a bit of procrastination, bit of self-doubt all the time, and they just don't feel like they're good enough. Whereas I know when you start doing fitness, when you physically look better, you feel better.
Mhm.
And yeah, sorry, I've gone off a bit on a tangent here.
Oh, no. I would actually just touch on that before we move on, is the how have you found it's helped your, because I think that's the other thing. There's a lot of people struggling with like mental health and, even the confidence of like, there's a lot of people that don't even want to go in the gym because they've been spending a lot of time comparing themselves to other people. And I think there's that misconception that when you join a gym, you already have to be in shape. Like I have had many of those conversations like, oh, I just, I don't know, I think I'll stand out like a sore thumb. And it's like, no, you go there when you're bad.
Yeah.
Like that is the starting point of when you go in the gym. But obviously you said you were at a bit of a low. So how has your fitness sort of really sort of pulled you back up?
I think essentially the whole thing for me is that I was looking after myself the way I needed to, rather than thinking about how to be the smallest person and how to get curves and stuff like that by eating absolutely pretty much nothing. I've actually fueled myself with protein, I've fueled myself with carbs, I've gone and done the weightlifting, which stereotypically wasn't accepted at that time for especially for females. And it still isn't to this day, but it is what it is. And now obviously it's bread and butter, and it's proof in the pudding for me that me lifting weights and having a healthy diet and just getting my steps on, getting my cardio done, just ticking all the boxes off and making it such an important factor in my life, I've now been able to not feel as anxious in like different scenarios of like meeting new people, doing these podcasts, for example. I'm now like not too bothered about people having an opinion on me. If they don't agree with what I'm doing, then that's absolutely fine. That's their opinion. And just overall, like I'm a lot more what are we wanting to say? Not confident. Kind I don't know. I'm just a lot more I prioritize a lot more who I spend my time with, because I know that some people will be time wasters, and I know that that circle means the most important thing, and I don't want to get dragged back into time wasting where I could be going up, for example.
I love it. And we're going to move on to the workplace, right? We're going to cover off some workplace topics here, and then we're going to talk about how both you and I, we've made that move into building our businesses, growing a brand. But before we do that, I'm going to do the bloody blinds because I look like Casper at the moment. So. uh, This podcast was sponsored by the employment breakout program, How to Fire Your Boss and Replace Your Income. If you want a life of purpose, one with time freedom and financial stability, head to the description below where you can join a free introduction webinar to learn how business could change your life. The workplace. We're still going to touch on fitness and kind of how that gives you that confidence. I think that's a massive thing. There are a lot of people in the workplace who are fed up, they want to escape, and those who aren't working out and they're in the workplace and they're fed up, I guarantee you they're going to be at a far deeper, darker depression state, very low, opposed to if someone perhaps doesn't enjoy their job, but they're absolutely destroying their body and going to war in the gym because their confidence and their self-esteem is going to be kept high and their mental state is going to be very, they're going to have that resilience, right, to make the necessary moves, which is essentially what I did. Especially, just to quote this, I used to go into my old job and I was in pretty good shape. And I used to look at some of these graduate squirts and think, don't fucking say a word to me. I'll throw you. I have the ability. So look, everyone knows my story, but why did you want to go on to build your own brand and your business? Because obviously I'm working with you as well. I know your story, but why did you want to do that?
As in, like, why did I want to build my business overall? Or
Yeah,
why did
why didn't you want to do the traditional 9 to 5? What's inside you saying there's more?
just for relating it back to the fitness, obviously I can always do more in that perspective and I've got mental discipline for training. And when you start to look after yourself, you then go, well, I'm already ahead of everyone else in one thing in life. What can I do to be ahead of everyone else in another point of life? That was the main thing for me. And then obviously, because I started online coaching last year, that thing for me was then, right, I want to teach everyone else how to do this. Because, for example, Kelly would like, she'll be happy that I mentioned her, to be fair. When she first started, she wouldn't even send check-in photos. Like she was so not confident, not happy, struggling. And now 7 months down the line, obviously she's also joined the breakout program to run her own business and to start that up. She's started doing a lot of work for me and she's the most confident that she's ever been in her body. And it can truly, truly give someone such a huge impact to the point where they go, oh my God, well, if I can do this, then what else can I do with my life that can change my quality of life in a different way?
Yeah. As you're merging into your own brand and your own business, it takes a hell of a lot of effort. It takes a hell of a lot of mental uh sort of drive. It just takes a huge amount. And I feel that if you can really start to look after your body, you can start to get your diet right. You can start to, the thing is discipline. You know this as well. And I'm just going to say in 2018, I got absolutely shredded because I was going to do a men's physique show. And I was working with this personal trainer. He'd won loads of like medals. He'd done all of his stuff. He'd done competitions, everything like that. He was well accredited. I got absolutely shredded. I was on this insane diet. And as you know, I had to say no to some of the foods that I just love. I was watching YouTube videos on food. I was watching the beard guy eat pizzas. And to say no to food, this sounds ridiculous, but it's one of the hardest things that humans can do because we all, it's our fuel, like it's satisfaction in one way or another, whether you're in a deep, dark place or whether you're happy. Food is like a center of like talking and happiness and comfort. That takes a lot of discipline. And I find that, again, if we're talking about the 1%, whether that's in, I mean, look at what's his name, Chris Bumstead. Like he is in the 1%
Yeah.
of people who can perform and put on a physique, which is just like insane. He's in the 1%, but he's in the 1% because he has such high levels of discipline. And it's the same in the business respect. So have you noticed that you are starting to move more into that 1% because your discipline is just above other people?
100%. Like the amount of times, because I used to live with my family when I did my last prep, the amount of times my parents would go, oh, are you sure you don't want something and stuff like that? And I can remember one of my siblings saying at one point, oh, well, what if you fail? And I was like, you little shit. Like, and it just made me like want to do it even more to just prove to everyone that I was actually capable of doing it. And then when you realize that you are capable of something that extreme, I feel like you do have this invincible mindset that you can go, well, how hard can it be? What do I need to do? Find out what you need to do, get the right support, get the right coach and stuff like that, and just you just tick the boxes.
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes you're gonna have bad days. Sometimes I didn't even want to get out of bed, but I still did it because I was like, well, if I don't do this, I won't be good enough to get on stage. Like
Yeah.
I would have the ambition to, we all kind of want to win, but I didn't go in going, oh, I must win this show. And I won my first one, like hands down. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I'd have just sat in bed, been comfortable, and just gave up and like gave into my parents, gave into what my sister said and stuff like that. And I think for me, it was kind of just proving to myself that I was capable of doing that because it was so, so difficult. And like so many people do drop out halfway through the shows. And essentially, that's what people do just in general lifestyles where they are trying to run the business. If it gets tough, they drop out because it's not easy. They realize it's not easy. And then they go, well, I may as well just go back to the 9 to 5 and work a job.
Yeah. The thing is, it shouts delayed gratification. You can look at someone who's in shape and is absolutely killing it, and you can instantly say that person can apply discipline, sacrifice, and delayed gratification because look at the physique that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Now, look, like take steroids and everything out of it, where people are obviously you can enhance it and you can gain more strength and stuff like in your recovery. But even if someone's on or off, just anything to do with fitness, it takes a huge amount of like work, dedication, and discipline. And to reach that level, And it's exactly the same in building your own brand and business, is that you have to apply delayed gratification. And for me, in 2024, I said to myself, Aaron, this year, I want to do more than 7 figures within a 12-month period to have my first year where I surpassed 7 figures. And I said to myself, and the reason why I've taken my fitness that much more seriously this year is because I need to hold myself even more accountable, like the ownership, making sure that, Aaron, you were training once a day, you need to train twice a day. Do your cardio in the morning, and again, it's having that, and I said this on a live earlier, it's having the self-drive, not having to have someone in my ear saying, come on up you get, put your
Yeah.
shit on. And I've done videos on this and even on live streams, is the whole cost of living. I talk about it all the time. And you have some people that agree with me, and then you have the people that just want to moan about fucking life. And they want people to do, they want a freeloading journey. It's like with physique, the great thing about fitness and someone's aesthetics, like what they look like, there was no cheating. They can't cut corners. No one's given them. There we go. I'm getting zooms, like little pop-up emojis there. No one can give you a physique. You have to do the work. And I think that's the cool thing, right? You got to put in the effort.
Yeah, there's no way that you can get tons of muscle in a space of like 6 months. And ultimately, when people start their fitness journey say they're a bit overweight, right? They need to think about the whole time that they were putting on weight until up to that point, because so many people expect to drop weight within 6 weeks and get to their best shape of their lives. It's not going to happen. You need to be resilient, you need to be continuous, and it's going to take months to years to be able to actually get your dream physique, especially if you've been putting yourself out of shape for so long. And there are like cheat methods out there, like fad diets, like no carbs, carnivore, Cambridge, all that stuff, but essentially they all do the same thing, and it's being in a deficit. And you may as well do it in a healthy way where you're not going to be like scratching at the tables like wanting some chocolate, and learning how to do it for better for your physical health, for your mental health, than doing a 6 week plan for like a holiday. And if lads, if you're listening to this, don't take steroids just because you're going to fucking Ibiza, because it just doesn't work like that. And then you just stop the diet, you stop the steroids, and then you're back to where you were 6 weeks later, because there's no guidance, there's no like proper discipline for the rest of your life. It's meant to be like a whole complete lifestyle change, not just a quick fad, let's go and get it and finish and go back to where you were. That's not how it works. And it's the same within the business industry. You can't get someone to tag you along for a bit and then just let it go and go, oh, well, it's good now, because it could just come crumbling back down and you're back to square one.
You know what makes me laugh, right? Is I have, and they'll never watch this anyway, but I did this on a live, but I have some PTs in my gym that
No.
need PTs.
Yeah.
Like, this is the other thing is, if you want to be somewhere, going to the social circle, right? We're going to move it into kind of like, we'll carry on talking about the business and stuff like that. But obviously your social circle in both of these areas in which we're talking about are super important. So if you want to get lean, ripped, jacked, and you're only around really fat and slobby people, you're probably around the wrong social circles. Same in business. If you want to earn £100,000, then you need to get around people that have done £100,000 and more. Like, it really does come around to the people that you're hanging around with, right? So I think we should all take that accountability, take that ownership to say, right, am I around the right people to achieve the goals that I want to achieve? And I think the fitness industry is a massive sort of like advocate of, if you want to get like this, then this is the PT you need to work with. Whereas, I don't know, do you buy into this? I'm just sort of going off topic here, but there is one guy at my gym where everyone seems to stick up for him and go, he's not in shape, but it's his knowledge. I'm like, no, 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 no. If I'm taking out a PT and I'm paying 60 quid an hour, I want the guy to be fucking ripped. I don't want him to be fat and you tell me that he's just got knowledge. I want to see that he's put in the work, not
Yeah.
read a few books. I mean, that says a lot, doesn't it?
100%. Like, some people say that as long as like they can tell you what to do, that's all that matters. But my personal opinion, they have to have proof in the pudding that their method that they may be potentially using actually works.
Yeah.
And like, this is why I forever want to do the bodybuilding stuff until I'm about 40. So I've got 15 years, I've got ages. Um, like, I just want to be able to provide that. Well, here I am. This is why I developed that. But you also need to have a mix. So you need to look at someone's credentials as well as their body, because some bodybuilders or PTs, online coaches, whatever you want to call them, they will not have the knowledge or not carry on developing the knowledge and then cause clients to be in really unhealthy relationships. So there's also that risk as well. So you have to have a bit of both.
Yeah. I've got, do you know what? I'm actually gonna read this out. So, a lady here's put, what's the best way for a nurse that's always what's the best way for a nurse that's always on her feet? I feel like maybe you need to ask that question again, because I don't mind reading that question out actually, because I think I know what you're getting at, but I don't want to misread it. So re-ask the question and then I'll
Yeah,
remedy.
that's absolutely fine.
You can ask the question. You just might have to reword it. Look, let's talk about fitness and business directly. Let's just merge the two. Let's attack this, right? So for me, I broke out of my job, as you know, but I would say, and hands up, what allowed me to be so consistent and just have that sort of ruthlessness just to really do what I needed to do in order to get out of my job is not only did I have that discipline in my physical self, I had this emotional mastery, but also I had the discipline in my finances. So this is, I actually have, I think there's a direct correlation, right? For me to be able to say no to like a sticky toffee pudding in the evening is the same for me to not go out and buy the damn sticky toffee pudding. It's being
Yes.
able to say, drum roll, keyword, no. So I have found as I am getting older and I dedicate more to my health, more to my finances, more to my businesses, more to my general contentment and happiness in life, I say no a lot more. And in saying no, I do far better in my social life, in business, in everything. Have you found yourself saying no to people and all kinds of no's? Sorry, can't do that. But good no's, right? Have you found that?
Yeah, going out for meals, my parents asking me to go out for meals, especially when this prep happens, it's going to be a no, I can't eat, or I can come, but I'm just going to have a Diet Coke. Like, if you're going to offer me food, I'm just going to say no. I'm not going to say, yeah, you're not going to get a different answer, no matter how many times you ask or no matter how many times you waft it in my face. And I think that definitely comes with money as well, because I was actually looking for a new car and then I looked at my finances. So I was like, well, I've got the money, but no, because I could invest that elsewhere. I could
Yeah.
put it into business or like a stocks and shares ISA, for example. There's so much more that you can do rather than trying to seek validation out of a car, for example, or buying materialistic things when you're struggling to pay the bills every single day.
Yeah, I love it, and I've spoken to you about this. I think I've said this quite a lot, just on my lives, a lot of my content. Always tickles me when, at the end of the day, if you're going to make smarter decisions, you're making investments, because everyone says, what should I invest in? How do I make more money? And then the first thing is, you may have heard me say, have you got an emergency fund? Like, I'm asking the fundamentals, but even beyond the finances, I would love to see some of these people where they go, what do you invest in? How do you make money? And then my first question I almost want to ask these people is, let me have a look at your physical state.
Yeah.
Now, if an obese, fat, slobby, lazy person said to me, what do I invest in and how do I make more money? I'd be like, no, start with your diet. Like, start with your health, because you're asking me a question on how to invest and how to make money. Dude or woman, you're not even going to live to 42 years old. You're not going to see that return on investment. So again, it's absolutely wealth before health. But when when you start looking after the wealth that you have, or even the income, it has to go on your health, which is why like prep food and even like cooking your own food is so important, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like, the amount of people that I get that they can't afford coaching, and they could literally just look at the bank statements and cut out like 5 or 6 takeaways a month. Boom, they can afford coaching.
Going
And
out the weekend.
that's the whole point of coaching, to live a healthy lifestyle and have a diet and be on a training plan. That's actually going to save you money because you're not having these distractions to pay for.
Yeah. I honestly, I find it baffling. But then I can't stop quoting this damn quote, the whole Winston Churchill. I keep saying it, but like a man will never reach his destination if he argues with every barking dog. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people that have a lot of voices, but have got it totally backwards. Now, I want to touch on kind of the conversations that may have come up for you, many have come up for me, is the whole thinking that really putting your health and your fitness as a priority might seem a little bit obsessive. It's a little bit too much. Why do you track everything? You know, all these kind of conversations that come up from people that, quite frankly, are probably quite unhealthy anyway. How do you deal with that? I know how I deal with it, and I'll explain it in a minute. It's very blunt, but how do you deal with that?
Um, at the end of the day, you kind of got to look at it and go, if someone's saying that you're really obsessive, you just got to look at yourself and then look at that person and go, is it though?
Yeah,
Because again, they are going to be the people that will turn around and go, oh, I wish I was in shape. Oh, I wish I had this. I wish I had that. But then they're turning around at me with the noses up going, oh, that's an eating disorder that is, or oh, that's too obsessive. Don't do it then and forever be out of shape. That's my opinion. If you want help, like by all means, like anyone who wants help, send me a message, send me a DM. I'll get you to where you want to be. But you have to take some sort of restrictions and limits to be able to go to where you potentially want to get to.
yeah. And let's face it, right? If you were sitting around a table and you started tracking your macros, if you were just sat with average people, they'd probably go, Rimini, dear, that's a bit much. You're just having to. But at the end of the day, if you were sat with six other fitness fanatics who are absolutely crushing it in business, no one's going to say a dicky bird. But it's so ironic because the unhealthy person, it's like someone when they turn around to me and say, Aaron, you talk a lot about starting a business, but I don't have time. Well, you're on fucking social media commenting and scrolling. Your priorities are wrong,
Yeah.
numbnuts. You know, so it's like your priorities are wrong. And that's the problem. Everyone's got a loud mouth, they got no action. So, but that is the separation. And going back to what I said before, I really realize the older I'm getting, I understand more and more why they call it the 1%.
Yeah.
It is the 1%. Um, because you can pass 100 people in the street, there might be two, tops three people that are willing to make the sacrifices and do what is necessary. And look, let's face it, tracking macros, improving on your health, is it just me or is that not a healthy thing to do?
It's a healthy thing to do. And going back to the whole kind of like disordered eating and stuff like that, that's the most orderly you can be. Like, yeah, some people do have negative impacts of it because they make it such an obsessive thing. But for me, not knowing what's going into my body, I think that's more disordered than knowing what's going into my body and knowing the outcome of what's going to go into my body, than constantly eating whatever, whenever, always having like digestive issues, like getting ill, getting chronic illnesses from your diet, and then going, oh, well, what did I do? But
Yeah.
it's constantly eating processed food and you don't know what you're eating, you don't know what's in your food. I feel like that's way more disordered than actually knowing what's in your food and why you're eating it.
Yeah. Do you know, I want to paint this picture. So for, by the way, anyone listening, Jezza, what's going on, dude? This was my old workplace. Now, don't get me wrong, I was a sucker for a Domino's pizza every now and again, and I am every now and again.
Wow.
Especially now they brought out the cream egg cookies. I'm all over that shit. But I would say if I look back at my old job, sitting around like the board meetings and where you've got like 15, 20 people, they all bring in these huge box of Domino's. And when I was dieting and I was looking after my health and I'm just, you know, I'm measuring and I know what I'm eating. I know, like you say, I know what's going in my body and I know how then it's going to fuel me. Is that I'm looking around and I'm thinking, I'm sat here with another 15, 20, 25 people, whatever it is. The room's got pretty big sometimes. Everyone's diving into these Domino's pizzas.
Okay.
Most of them are pretty out of shape. Most of them complain about this job. Most of them talk about the news all the time. They're pretty, in terms of their conversation, it's pretty depressing and it's pretty draining. But yeah, I would sit there and I think, but you're all necking a fatty, carby, starchy, oversaturated pizza. You're not helping yourselves, but none of you want to be here. And it's like being able to go, I'm not having the Dominoes because I've got to get out this fucking place. And then that was what I was like. I was like, Aaron, do what most average people are not willing to do, and you'll get more than average results.
That's it.
Bish bosh bang, few years pass, get out of my job. So I love it. I think there is such a direct correlation. Where do you, so let's just talk about your brand and business. Where are you going to be? Like, how big are you going? Obviously, like I said, I'm staying close to it, but where do you want to go with it?
I want to eventually just build a community where people look at me and go, oh, I know that person. That's the person that helps people get into shape. I want to be that influencer or that fitness person that has like coaches working for them and having basically like my own app, doing speeches, doing talks, and basically essentially going from where I started to where I am now and helping people to get there pretty much.
Yeah, love it. And look, I think the whole fitness industry, one for business, I think it's thriving. I think when people say it's oversaturated, I would say it's saturated, but nothing's oversaturated because it's like it's forever evolving. It's like when people tell me YouTube's oversaturated. It's not. It's saturated, but it's not oversaturated.
Yeah.
I think it's exciting, and I think it's a healthy thing to do, right? I think for your mental state, for your physical state, for your brand and your business, and with the fitness industry, I mean, look, I'm even guilty of it recently. I'm trying to merge more fitness in now because I love to get things for free and I want to pull in more. I want to pull in more sponsors. I want applied. I definitely want applied. I'm on their back at the moment. I mean,
Nice.
are you going to be pushing for that? Because obviously it's self-funding, isn't it? Like all of it is pretty pricey.
I mean, I already have a sponsorship with a supplement brand anyway. They're called Elite Subs, so they distribute different supplements. So I can have applied nutrition and then I can have perform weight and stuff like that. So I can be really, really picky and choosy with the products that I prefer because they're not all from the same brand. I've had sponsorships from protein brands like CMP. I've had offers from Applied Nutrition and stuff like that. Um, yeah, I'll be down for any sponsorships. So if anyone's watching this and does want some content putting out, I am going to be vlogging my prep as well. So if anyone does want to get the business out there and needs someone to try stuff like that, I'm always down. But yeah.
I was going to say, Rimini, I mean, we're launching a fitness brand soon. So I'm just saying, we'll be sending, in fact, actually, I will be sending you some stuff because we've got some wicked, like obviously men and females, but obviously I think it would put some people off if I start wearing the female leggings while squatting. I think I'll get questioned what's going on there. But yeah, look, I'm sure you can absolutely crush it. Just in terms of your socials, I'll include them all in the description anyway. But if people do perhaps just want to check you out, understand a little bit more about you, where do you want to send them?
So mainly through Instagram. TikTok is in the works of trying to change it from like the fitness validating side to the actually informative ranting side. That has been difficult to change, to be fair, because people's attention span, I feel like all my followers have gone from like watching a video for like 10 to 15 seconds to now having to listen to me for like a minute and a half. It's changed a lot since when I got like viral and got all these videos going. But yeah, TikTok, Instagram, they're both the same, at Rimini Maloro. So yeah, that's it really. And then if you did want to get in contact with me for potential coaching, then obviously DM my TikTok, DM my Instagram, and I do have a form on both the links in my bios where you can apply for coaching as well.
Awesome. Well, I'll stick them all in the description. And yeah, I've really enjoyed this podcast. I think it's one of those things where I've been meaning to talk about fitness a lot more, and I'm slowly having to drip feed it. So it's good to kick it off and also merge the whole brand and fitness side into it because I think, like I said, just and finishing on it, I think the two go hand in hand so nicely, and I think you just give yourself that much more of a chance of being successful if you really look after yourself first, and then the rest kind of follows after. So, Rimini, it's been an absolute pleasure, and to everyone who has watched up until this point, thank you so much. Do be sure to subscribe, like, and drop a comment. Go check out Rimini, and until next time, we'll see you all very soon.